Hey guys, so one of the questions I get asked most is, how did you do your backtesting spreadsheet? Can you send me this? And it's kind of a long answer to explain over a message on Instagram. So I thought, let me put together a mini series because quite a few people seem to ask. I did a post on my story today saying, who needs clarity over backtesting? Quite a few people said yes, me. So I thought, if this helps at least one person, it was absolutely worth doing. And if not, it's a cool thing for me to look back on. So I hope you enjoy it. Tell me what you think. The first section is basic order info. The second video will be tracking filters. The third will be looking at different stops and targets. And then I'm going to do a fourth video, explain how to automate your screenshots. Fifth on, this is adding up, isn't it? A fifth on the actual backtesting process, how I actually backtest, and that will be it. So enjoy, let me know what you think. Hi guys, so in this first video I'm going to be talking about the first part of my spreadsheet. Now when I say first part, my spreadsheet is essentially split into three sections. I've got my basic trade information, I have the second part which is my filters, and the third part which is looking at different stops and targets. So before I start, I want to make one thing very clear. Me documenting what I personally have done is not by any means saying this is the right way to backtest. I'm not saying it's the only way to backtest. I'm saying it's what I've done, and that this might help one or two people who are slightly confused about the process or have never used Excel before and kind of need a shove in the right direction in terms of how to proceed. So let's get started. Right. As I said, this first part is going to be very basic. It's my basic trade information. Now, having said that, if you're not looking to track filters or different stops and targets, you just need this first part, because you're obviously not going to need to track filters and stop losses and different targets if that's not what you're into. So if you're just looking to look at different rules, then if you're not looking to change the rules, then yeah, you just need this first part. So first column, number. Oops, hopefully I can spell. Now this is just going to tell us how many trades we've got in total. I would suggest, so put a few numbers in, and then highlight them, hover over the bottom right, and you'll get this little cross, and just drag it down. Now I'm going to do a few, I'm only going to do 20 because obviously this is just an example, but in reality I'm pretty sure my spreadsheet goes down to like 250, 300 because I want more rows than I need. I don't want to, for example, need 25 rows and then I've got to like go back and start editing my spreadsheet and adding rows and copying formulas. I want it all there. I want to know that once this spreadsheet is put together, that is that. I then just need to focus on backtesting. The spreadsheet is done. So do more than you need to make things simpler further down the line. So now next I've got my currency pair. Nice and clear, whatever. Let's say we're testing euro dollar. Put that in there. Click on this, hover over, and then double click, and it will populate those cells for you. Next, I've got my market state. Now, I'm doing trend continuation, so this is important to me. I need to know if we're bullish or we're bearish, and I will manually enter this when I'm actually backtesting. Now, that is what I do. You might not care about market state, so you might not even need this column, but you might even be looking, you know, are we in bullish consolidation or are we bearish? You might have more options than me. You might just want to know if we're bullish. So put in what you need. It is entirely up to you. It's dependent on your strategy. But for me, I want to know if I'm bullish or I'm bearish. Just an example. But I will populate this, as I said, once I'm testing. Next up is chart interval. As with the previous column, this is important to me because I was doing trend continuation and I had two different chart intervals that I was executing on. So there were 3 different entry types in my strategy. The 15-minute was used for first and third chance entry, and the 60-minute was used for second chance entry. So for example, sometimes I would have 15, sometimes I'd have 60. It just depended on the entry type. Now, I have chucked out first and third chance, so now this just says 60. I still like to have this here because it's just clear, like, again, just don't make things difficult. If something takes 5 seconds to put in, just do it. It just makes it clear. If you come back to it in 10 years, you know what you did. Everything's, right in front of you. You don't have to go searching to see what you actually tested. So there we go, chart interval. I'm going to actually delete some for this example to show, if you have 2 different chart intervals, how you can basically use a formula to make things easier. Next, anyway, entry date, entry time, and then I've got, by the way, with entry time, because I went down this rabbit hole of thinking, oh my god, I need to go down to the 1 minute chart and see the exact minute to which I was entered on my trade, and basically that's just not, reality of how it works. If I enter on the 1 o'clock candle, then I'm going to enter 1300 hours. Now, I use a 24-hour clock. It's entirely up to you if you want to do that, or if you want to do AM, PM, 7 AM or 1900 for 7 PM. It's just easy, isn't it? Next, and again, obviously these will be entered as you actually backtest. Next is ATR. I need to track my ATR. One, to see if it's like a massive ATR on some pairs when I'm looking to compare. Secondly, I am tracking 1 ATR stop loss and a 2 ATR stop loss, so this helps with a formula later down the road. Next, we've got my entry zone. Again, important if you've got different entry zones. As I said, I had 3, so this would say either first chance, second chance, or third chance. I'm going to show you a formula for this, but for now let's just leave it like that. And then entry price, self-explanatory, price you enter at, initial stop loss, target price 1, and then target price 2. Now, I know some of you are thinking, oh yeah, target price 1, and then target price 2, which is an extended target. No, that is not what I'm talking about in this, for me personally. Here, where it says target price brackets 2, this is going to be the same as this. The reason I am repeating this information twice is because further on, I will be looking for extended targets. So I want to be comparing apples with apples. If I'm entering 2 positions here, I want to be comparing it with my 2 positions later. Because otherwise, say for example, I'm comparing target 1 and target 2 with just 1 target, you're comparing 2 lots against 1 lot. It just doesn't make sense, so I just want to make things easy. I'm putting on 2 positions here, and I'm going to be comparing it with 2 positions later. Let's just make things simple. Next, and again, I'm going to show you a formula. Exit date, exit time, so all your exit info, exit reason, and exit price. Now we come to the formulas. So, where should I start? I'll start here. Now, with entry zone, if you only have 1 entry zone, so say, like I said, I only have my second chance now, I can just populate this and, that, oopsie, and I can just leave that as it is. Nothing else needs to be done. However, when I had 3 different types of entry zones, as I said, I had the 15 and the 60, I did a formula like this. If D2 equals 60, then I want it to automatically enter second chance. Otherwise, I want it to be left blank. And blank, you do 2 speech marks. The reason I can't distinguish between first and third chance is because they both have the same time frame. so it can't distinguish whether it's a first chance entry or third chance entry. Now, if you want to somehow, if it's really important to you, you know, 15-minute and it's a third chance entry is kind of unnecessary, because if you say it's third chance here, you don't really need to point out that it's that here. But, you know, if, for example, I got a first chance entry, I would override the formula and put in first chance. Bam. Same if I got third chance, I would just type in third chance entry. Whereas if I get 60, oopsie, sorry, I forgot to pull the formula down. Don't forget to do that. Look, it picks up. Here, override it, first chance. Here, enter 60. Bam, comes out a second chance. Quick little things like that do save you time, so it's worth doing. Right, and what else did I do? Okay, obviously, like I said, this is going to be the same as this for me. So there we go, equals, I just did equals and then left, enter, pull it down, bam. And then the last formula was for my exit price. And that is equals if my exit reason is equal to, and then you just speech mark, T, close speech marks. Then, so if I hit targets, I want it to take my target price. Otherwise, I want it to take my stop loss price. If you have like break even and things like that, I talk about that in the third video. It's going to be the third video, so stay tuned for that. Things get slightly more complicated. But for now, so for example, let's just say that's 1, this is 1.1. Exit reason, stopped out, that's going to count with 1. If I put T, it's going to count with 2. So that is what we do. Again, 1.4, 1.32. There. So that's what you do for that. Or stopped out. There, comes up with the 1.4. Now, the last few things are purely for to make things a bit more visually appealing, because when I'm looking at this, it kind of just seems like overwhelming. Everything looks the same. What do I fill in? What has formulas in? Because this is blank, so I might not realize and then just suddenly type over something if it's got a formula and it's just a bit confusing. So the things that I don't have to change at all, where it's kind of like that whole column is done, I made it grey. And the ones that have formulas in, but I may need to override it, I just make them yellow, because then I know I have to look at this. Do I need to put the data in, or does it have a formula there that does it for me? Target price, this is going to be grey. Same with this. And then I know the rest is what I need to fill in. And then I want it to have a nice border, so I'm doing all borders. And then I want to make this bold. I keep wanting to do the shortcuts on my keyboard, but obviously no one's going to be able to see that. Okay, and then I just want to create some headers, again, just to make things more pleasing to the eye and a lot clearer. So you highlight all these, click merge and center, and then I'm going to call this my trade data. Trade data, as Jess, my Australian friend, would say. Then highlight this, merge and center, order info. I feel like I've like subtly rambled throughout this. Yeah, it is what it is, do you know what I mean? Exit price, God, I'm tired. Exit info. Separate these out, make it nice and clear. So guys, I don't want that here, I want it to be here. Oh no, I do. Let's leave it like that. Awesome. So there we go. There you have the first part of the spreadsheet. And I would also make this grey, because that doesn't need to be touched. So let's just make it clear. Now, the last thing is your screenshots. Again, this is the one part of the spreadsheet. There's going to be a lot more screenshots to come. I actually call this, because I need my high time frame screenshot. Before, and then my trading time frame screenshot before, whoops, and then we're going to do the same but for after. So then just change these. So the reason for doing this, George S, who's been helping me a hell of a lot throughout this like past year really, he said to me the other day, it's a good idea to do this because you're then not impacted by the outcome when you're kind of reviewing your trades. Because say for example this hit targets, it's easy to just talk yourself in stuff and not really kind of looking at, was it a quality trade at entry that I would be happy to be involved in. You're just focusing on the outcome. So having a before and an after shot allows you to kind of review the trade without being obsessed over the result, and I think it's a very good idea. So yeah, there we go, make it bold. I am going to show a way, by the way, to get your screenshots to automatically insert, but I'm going to do like a little video that just talks about screenshots and how to insert those automatically. Because then I don't have to explain it in this video and the third video, it's just one video covering it. But, and if you don't want to look at that, just so you know, insert hyperlink and then you select your screenshot. Let's just select something random, whatever this is. Boom. And then if you want to change the name, you do edit hyperlink and then say I just want to call it example. I've turned into one of those people that does example. Here's one I prepared earlier. And then when you click on it, I'm not going to click on it because I don't know what that document is, but it will just open. And that's about it. And here, if you want to, I just did this recently. I didn't do this at the beginning because I just wanted to focus on the process. I feel like I'm quite level-headed now in the sense that I'm not going to be like obsessing over the outcome because it's just been so long in terms of backtesting that I don't know, like I feel like so involved in the process that the outcome's not going to like impact whether or not I record a trade or not. But so what I've done now is to kind of just make it really obvious if you hit targets or if you hit your stop. I go to conditional formatting, I go to new rule. Remember, I've highlighted this, new rule, format only cells that contain, and then you want to click equal to, and then we're going to say T, I want the cell to be green, and then bam, it's going to make the cell green. Yeah. And then do the same for stops, new rule, that contain equal to S, gonna make it red, and there we go. Yep, cool. So that's the first part of this. I hope it helped you guys. Let me know if you have any feedback, and like I said, there's gonna be at least 3 more videos coming out. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this and thanks for watching. Let's see if I can close this off. There we go.